Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. Today a quick video regarding this micro quadcopter which I built earlier in the year, and thanks for so many of you who watched the video. It really made it worth doing. But back then, earlier in the year, the weather was terrible and I was only able to fly it indoors. Now I since then have had a few people ask me, will this fly outside? And yeah, of course it will. In fact, it was designed for indoors and outdoors as well. So the weather has improved. It's approaching summer now. So I've gone and done some flying footage outside. So let's go take a look at that. So this is the first flight that I did out of about 5 flights in total to ensure that I got enough footage for this video. Now this is the cropped DVR image of the SkyZone 700D monitor that I have, and this is as much of a flight video as it is to demonstrate my editing skills. Watch this. Look at that, just seamless editing from the DVR footage to the onboard footage. Now straight away you can see that the flight's a little bit wobbly, and it was quite a windy day, but over the winter I had a serious crash indoors which caused one of the arms to break, and so what I did was I glued it back on with epoxy glue, and I don't think I glued it on quite straight, so the motor is at a slightly different height than all the other motors, and I'm getting this slight wobbling that I didn't have in my original video, so I'm pretty sure that's what's causing this, or the fact that it's extremely lightweight and it's blowy. Or what it could be, as I've learned after building the large quadcopter that's the previous video to this, when you start changing frames about and start messing with weights and stuff like that, you start to affect the flight characteristics, because I'm using the Hubsan controller board here, which was designed for a Hubsan sized quadcopter, and this is slightly bigger. I think it may be slightly lighter, a different size, the props are in different places, so that could cause a little bit of the wobbling as well, but I do think it is just because of that crash. As I chase a bird here, he goes and flies off to the side. These birds, they know me now. They know that I like to follow them. I'm not trying to hit them. I just think it's a cool shot to chase them, but they always fly off into the street because they know that I can't fly down there because I go out of line of sight. But there you go. It's just gonna, between this video, flick back and forth between the DVR footage and the onboard footage. So this next video is actually just of the DVR footage, the uncropped DVR footage, and also I'm not onboard recording. So a couple of people suggested when I did the micro build quad that there's too much lag on it or whatever. I don't know how people can see that there is lag on a video when they're not flying the thing themselves, and that there isn't any lag on it. What happens is, because this is a tiny camera board, when you record and have video out at the same time, it has to process more stuff, and it doesn't lag. It basically drops a few frames, but not enough to disrupt the FPV experience. You can see here I'm flying fine, and on the video before I was flying fine. Now on this one, actually, when I wasn't recording, this is when I thought, well, I'll push the boundaries a bit of the range. Now this is about 300 meters away from myself here, and it's just at the point where I'm disappearing from line of sight of myself. I didn't realize that until I watched the video back, but it's cutting out here at about 300 meters. I think this can go much further than that. And I do actually push it too far, and you'll see that in the next video, and I have to go for a long walk. But I should say, in this video, the 700D monitor does have a diversity DVR, so it's not like a completely true range, because I'm using a cloverleaf antenna on one side, and then when it gets far away I can see that the diversity lights do switch, and it does go to the the helical antenna. And what happens is about here, can you see there? We're getting, it's not interference there. That's, I think, and again, it's the diversity receiver flicking between the two, and it's a bit annoying actually. It's almost like it can't figure out quite which is the strongest, and it sort of gets itself in a back and forth motion. But out here, definitely the helical antenna that is the strongest. It's a 5-turn helical antenna, and I really think that, like, this could compete with the 1.3 gigahertz setup that I have. Obviously, though, it all has to be line of sight, because 5.8 gigahertz can't penetrate through like objects as well and stuff like that. So one thing that I should mention is I have played around with the VTX a bit more. It has a variable resistor on it, which means that you can change the amount of resistance that's on it, and that you can up the power of the VTX, and it goes from 10 milliwatts to 100 milliwatts. So standard, it's 50 milliwatts, and it's literally just a screw. You stick a screwdriver in and turn it. I haven't done loads of tests with it. All of this video was done with the stock 50 milliwatts power, so it's not bad really, is it? I'm getting some nice range on it with just that. So yeah, so let's talk about some other stuff. So the camera, its resolution is 1280 by 720, 16 by 9. The DVR footage is coming out at 720 by 480. I think I just play around with the range a bit more here. I think this is the video where I push it too far, and I thought I was actually going out of range, but as you'll see in a bit, like, it's really sketchy, the signal here, and it's because right where that bush is in front of us, that's on the boundaries of line of sight. So I'm sort of just flying around here and just sort of testing the water. I'm pretty sure it's this video. Anyways, I fly around in this cul-de-sac a bit more. With this camera, the dynamic range isn't, it's okay, but it isn't quick. You can see that when the light changes, the exposure struggles, and it's sort of the sky goes a bit purple. It's certainly not as good as an 808/16, and that is something that I hope to add eventually. I still haven't found a good way to add an 808/16 and get some decent results. That is, I should say, using the 808/16's FPV out functions, because I did a video not so long ago, well, it's probably about a year ago now, where I took the standard H107D, which is where I started off, and just attached an 808 camera to the bottom of it. Of course, that you get quite good results doing that, but you don't get decent range. You know, I can't fly anywhere near as far as this. Also here, can you see on that video there, we were getting lines across the screen. That wasn't caused by anything on the quad. What had actually happened was I had sat on the aerial of my Wi-Fi booster, and it had snapped. And it was moving about and interfering with the DVR, and that's what's causing that. Anyway, this is where I take it too far, right? So that's the 300-meter mark there, and I just keep going, and we're at about 400. Those trees at the back are 800 meters. We've got clear image until I turn the wrong way. I turn, and then you can see that on the DVR it completely cuts out, and then the quad captures what's actually happening there, and we've got a nice sideways shot, and a lovely time lapse. Why not? While I walk the 400 meters that it is to get back. So yeah, that was a fun walk. But anyways, yes. So these flight times were quite short, actually. They were only about 3 minutes long. That's because my batteries are really old. I need to buy some new batteries. There again, you can see the diversity receiver annoying me there. As you can see there, the sun's getting quite low as well, but still able to fly. It does get a bit dark there, and I kind of turn around, but really impressed with how this is performing, considering, you know, what I'm asking a lot of this thing. You know, we're having FPV out from it, we're recording, and it's tiny and it runs off 3.3 volts. There's no interference whatsoever on it. Like I mentioned before, the interferences off the Wi-Fi booster. The aerial sticks up behind the FPV monitor, and I didn't realize that, and I couldn't see the lines while I was flying, but when I got the DVR footage back, obviously I could see that there were lines on the screen, but because the aerial was snapped, it kept sort of dangling and bobbing up and down, and that's why the lines across the screen, you see, they're not there. It's kind of intermittent. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, the SD card that I've got on it is a 8 GB card. So as I mentioned, I'm using the helical antenna there. And so you're not gonna get probably not gonna get the kind of range that I think the cloverleaf will probably work to about 150 meters, but also the helical is a directional antenna. So what I was doing when the quad was getting far away is that's why I'm using a monitor as well. That's I didn't use goggles. Of course, goggles are illegal anyway, so you have to keep line of sight. And of course, this quad's so small, I could keep line of sight from it for 200 meters away, can't I? But yeah, the reason why I was using a monitor for this is so that I could use the diversity antenna, and I could pretty much know which way I was pointing to point the helical antenna at it. Yeah, I think this is going to give my long-range setup a run for its money. I need to do more tests. Unfortunately, the weather has gone a bit terrible again, but I want to stand in the middle of the field and hopefully see if we can get like half a kilometer, because yeah, we pretty much reached that before until I turned the wrong way. So I think at this point I go and pick on a pigeon. I think I spot it under the tree, and honestly, I'm not trying to whack into it. I could have whacked into it if I want to. I love birds and animals, so don't get to me on there. I don't think this bird loved me though. Had some fun with it there. So yeah, I think this is the last flight actually, and so let's just talk about a couple of things before we go. Since I did that video, I've realized that the clear props that you can buy for the Hubs and X4 are so much stronger than the standard props that you get. So I'm going to be using them from now on. You can smash them into anything, they don't break, which is really cool, and they're clear, so you don't get any props in shot. However, if you see this though, there's no props in shot here. It's worked out quite well with this. This is still using the 808-16 lens. You can get a wider angle lens now, 170-degree lens from Banggood. I do have some of those, I've just not got around to putting it on. However, I think you would start to get props in shot with that. Just bounced the ground there through the trees. Yeah, so you don't get any props in shot with this setup. However, though, if you want to fly this indoors, you kind of do want a wider angle. So I think if I go back to flying this one indoors, I will stick that 170-degree angle lens on it, but this is fine outside. This is all done FPV. This whole lot, you know, I never once looked up to look at the quad. The thing's so small anyway. If it dropped out the sky, it's never going to hurt anyone. I definitely think we should promote these micros because the bigger quad's a bit more dangerous, I think. And again, we're getting those lines across the screen. Oh, it's so annoying. But look, you see, it's intermittent. It stops. It's literally it's a combination between the diversity receiver flicking between the two and my Wi-Fi booster. The original video that I did of this, I didn't use a Wi-Fi booster. So yeah, so this is it really. I think this is about as far as I'm going to take this. I might do another video where we do a complete range test because I think this could really go the distance. I want to see if I can get a full 808 quad set up where we use the 808/16, and the problem is it's heavier because it's got a microphone and a USB connection. This one doesn't have, you see. But I'm going to try and figure it out. I think I've got a hexacopter that I built. If you check on my channel, I built a hexacopter micro, and I think that would lift an 808. So that might be something that I can try in the future. What else have we got on here? Oh yeah, the recording bitrate's quite good, as I'm about to pick on this pigeon again. The bitrate on board is 30 megabits, which is quite high, which is really good, as opposed to the DVR, which is 4 megabits. Look at this poor pigeon. I think it's the same one as before. He's just trying to, get his food for the day, and he's just, he's not threatened by me, though, I don't think. He doesn't think I'm going to eat him. I think he's just annoyed by me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a longer video than I hoped, actually, but I wanted to make sure that you could see all the flights that you did, because so many people watched the video, and thank you for that. So please continue to subscribe and watch my videos. Thank you very much.